Sitting for the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education Examinations, that is KCPE, against the backdrop of a third wave of COVID-19 and the teen pregnancies. Now, the government has already initiated tough and innovative measures that will ensure the exams are seamless, including areas hit by insecurity and flooding. Now, a spot check at various schools across the country ahead of the national examinations revealed that the candidates were ready and set for these exams, for the much anticipated exams that had been postponed from last year due to the closure of schools following the ravage of the coronavirus. Now, KTN's news reporter Elvis Kosgei reports on this story.
A spot check in the county of Makueni revealed that most primary schools were ready for the Kenya Certificate of Primary School Examinations this year that are expected to kick off on Monday morning. The class of 2020 exuding confidence that they are ready for the challenge.
Them well, despite the fact that we had the challenges of corona pandemic and our students stayed home for quite some time. When they came back, we received them. We really worked in preparing them. The teachers, they worked day and night to see to it that actually our students are prepared for this exam.
We've been waiting for this day with much zeal and zest, and we know that we are ready and confident for this examination. Despite the disruptions we had in the year 2020, we still managed to come back to school and continue with our education, and we thank the Lord. Furthermore, we know that the sky is the limit, and we are going to aim for the sky.
About 10,437 examination centers in the country have been established for the Class 8 candidates. This year's candidate population is an increase from 699,745 and 1,083,000 learners who sat 2019 KCSE and KCPE respectively. The 2021 KCPE exams will run from Monday, March 22nd to Wednesday, March 24th. The government is also keen on teenage pregnancies that has become something of a national scourge.
We are aware that we could have what we call hardship cases, maybe students who are unwell, maybe students who are expectant and who may go into labor, and we have made the requisite arrangements to ensure that they are well taken care of and they are able to do the examinations at the nearby health facilities.
Examination command centers have also been established for quick response to incidents that may arise from schools in remote areas. It now remains to be seen how the government intends to handle the national exams during the pandemic. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News.
Thank you, Elvis Kosgei, for that report. So we have the first day of the national examinations covered for you by reporters in different parts of the country. And of course, this morning, Education CS Professor Magoha oversaw the opening and distribution of the national exams. Remember, these exams for 2020, the year 2021, the national examinations are being done and, at different time because of COVID-19, the coronavirus pandemic that has ravaged the world and also here in Kenya. And so I'd like to cross over to my colleague Shadrach Miti, who's also who's actually doing a sports check in Thika. Shadrach Miti, good morning. So we're talking about over 1 million candidates sitting for these exams, but of a major concern, we'd like you to act, not even a concern, but kindly confirm to us whether candidates who did not also register for these exams are actually sitting for these exams, because that is one of the directives that the CS for Education, Professor George Magoha, gave, that whether you registered for the exams or not, you will be allowed to sit for the KCPE national examinations for the year 2021.
Well, indeed, that's the question I gave to the CS for Education early in the morning when he was witnessing the opening of the container at the Thika West Sub-County headquarters. And he was very affirmative. He said that what the government has done, despite the rule, the Kenya National Examinations rules that examinations papers have to be serialized, the government is going to treat that scenario with some level of exception, that if at all there are those candidates who are supposed to have been registered for the KCP examinations, and for some reasons they were not registered, then they will be required to present themselves at any given examination center, confirm that indeed they are candidates, and the government is promising to deviate from the norm, that instead of you giving them the serialized examination papers, the government will be forced to photocopy some examination papers so that now those learners can be allowed to sit the examination. So according to the CS, the process of administering that type of examination to those kind of learners or candidates is there. But how many they are, we are not so sure. And if at all they will be presenting themselves, we do not know. But we hope that by the end of this day, then we shall have known exactly what the position is. But what the government has said is that case or that situation is affecting a number of private schools. We do not expect that learners or candidates from public schools will be affected by such. But as the government has been putting it right from last Friday, is that it's a situation that was created by what the CS for Education calls unscrupulous investors in the private education sector who decided not to register the learners despite collecting money from them. But again, Brenda, remember this year's examination, the 2020 national examination, will also be involving special learners. And so here we are at the Thika School for the Visually Impaired. This school has 23 candidates who are performing the examinations from that class right behind me. We were there a while ago with the CS and we managed to look at them. They are doing well. They were performing or typing with their braille. And remember, one of the key highlights about these learners is that unlike the normal learners, they will be given an extra 30 minutes. And if that 30 minutes again elapse without finishing again, the center manager has the prerogative to negotiate around time. But to get exactly how that works, we are joined by the center manager, who is also the school head teacher, Mrs. Njuguna, who is going to give us exactly, Madam, just talk to us about these special learners and how special they are during this examination.
Okay, our runners are visually impaired, most of them, but we have low vision learners who are using a large print, 3 of them. Now, about the time, they are given 30 minutes more than the normal time. Yes.
And what happens if that duration, the 30 minutes grace period elapses and the candidates are not anywhere close to finishing the examination? What happens?
I posed the question to our CS, but he said he has just communicated that we can liaise with the supervisor and they can be added 15 more minutes. Mm-hmm. That is 45 more minutes. Mm-hmm. But yet it needs clarification. Okay. Yes.
So how do you describe these extraordinary circumstances under which the candidates are sitting the exams, and especially now that you are dealing with a school that is special? How do you describe this whole scenario? And again, what is your expectation even as we begin this examination?
I have high expectation with my learners. They are good. We were doing an assessment with our zone, and we usually we come number 1 or number 2, even number 3. So
finally, the period that the learners were away, 9 months, how do you think it affected your candidates?
That time really affected the candidates because we took time to bring them back to classroom activity. But through guidance and counseling, our learners are ready to learn and they are well prepared. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, Brenda, that is Mrs. Njuguna, the head teacher at the Thika School for the Visually Impaired, just giving us the insights of how her candidates are and the situation here. So many things are happening around the country. We are monitoring closely, and of course we shall be monitoring every detail of this so that we can ensure that our viewers are well kept abreast and informed of all the things that are happening around examinations. Back to you, Brenda.
All right, so Shadrach Mite, thank you so much at the Thika School for the special, where we have also KCPE candidates sitting for that national examinations, and also just giving us an in-depth explanation concerning that statement by CS for Education Professor George Magoha that candidates who did not register